Hello friends, we're back to learning ecology again. We had a gap of a week. Uh, we are continuing with our topic on ecology, that is unit number 10. Okay, sort of the four chapters in unit number 10. Uh, Let me take my marker first, please. Okay, we have already done organism and population. Today, we would like to discuss chapter number 15, biodiversity and conservation. Choda chapter hai, right now. So we will study 13 and 15 together. ये बड़ा था, the small one, and we'll do ecosystem and environmental issues साथ में, right? So 13, 15 का एग्जाम एक साथ रखेंगे हम लोग, and 14, 16 का एग्जाम एक साथ रखेंगे, so that we can finish the entire unit right now. So we are discussing today biodiversity and conservation. Okay. Now, with respect to this particular discussion, biodiversity. Now, what does biodiversity refer to? Right? A rich variety of living organisms, different types of living organisms on this planet. Right now, some examples I have listed on the board. Right, 20,000 species of ants. Wow, and we know only three: red, black, and white. है नहीं? 3 lakh species of beetles, 28,000 species of fishes. My God, right ना? एनिमेलिया के अंदर तो बोनी और कार्टिलेज के एग्जाम्पल याद नहीं होते अपने से. 28,000 species of fishes, 20,000 species of orchids, right? को एक ही मालूम है, वैंडा. 17,500 species of butterflies, 4,000 species of cockroach, right? More than 4,800 species of frogs, right? So the list is endless. That means within a particular type of an organism itself, you have so many different types of species. Now, all this, they give rise to some questions. Now, what are these questions? Why are there so many species? Has this diversity been existing throughout the history of Earth? How did this diversification happen? Right now, is this diversification important to our existence, to the functioning of the biosphere? Right now, do we humans benefit from the diversity of life? देखो प्लीज, हाँ, ह्यूमन का बेनिफिट तो एंड में रहने ही वाला है कि अपने को कोई फायदा है क्या इसका. फायदा है तो पढ़ते, वरना थैंक यू सो मच. नाउ, to understand this, first you will have to understand what is biodiversity, right? Now, we have studied the organization, right? Now, दो टाइप के organization हम लोग ने अभी तक पढ़े. Right now, we know one is your organization at the level of, right, biology, और दूसरा इकोलॉजिकल हायरार्की, इकोलॉजिकल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन भी इंट्रोड्यूस मैंने तुमको कर दिया है, राइट ना? सो the atoms, the molecules within the cell organelles, the cell tissue, right? ये पूरा, right, going up to the biosphere. We have spoken about it in the previous chapter. Biodiversity extends from the macromolecules in the cell, to the biome. यानी हर एक स्टेप के ऊपर you are having diversity, right? Do we have different types of macromolecules? We have studied biomolecules में. Do we have different types of organelles in the cell? Yes. Do we have different types of cells? Yes. Different types of tissues, different types of organs, right? Now, हर एक level पे we have diversity, right up to biomes. 6 biomes we have studied, but biosphere एक ही है, right now. So that's why we have to be careful. Biodiversity is from macromolecules in the cell to the level of biome. Now, this term biodiversity was given by Edward Wilson. So, what is biodiversity? combined diversity at all the levels of biological organization. So ये combined जितना भी diversity है सब level पे सब मिला जुला total diversity right now is called as biodiversity. I hope the term biodiversity is very clear to all of us. Now what are the types? देखो types मतलब सब level पे biodiversity तो है, but there are some important types of biodiversity. उसमें तीन they are discussed. Three of them are discussed in the syllabus. First is genetic biodiversity, species level biodiversity, and ecological level biodiversity. Now, what is genetic level biodiversity? Single species will show high diversity. Now, देखो species single है, please ध्यान रखना. But उसके genetic level पे difference, right? Example, a medicinal plant by the name of Rauwolfia vomitoria, right? Now, Indian snake root, उसको सर्पगंध भी बोलते हैं. It grows in different Himalayan ranges, right? Now, medicinal plant, उसका जो extract है, it is used for treatment of high blood pressure, hypertension. So they're saying that the different variations within Rauwolfia, देखो ये genus है, species, we're talking about one single species. The difference might be in the terms of potency and concentration of the chemical reserpine which is produced by this plant. So you can have two types of Rauwolfia vomitoria, both differing in the terms of the potency and concentration of the chemical produced. Right now, उसको बोलते हैं genetic level diversity. India has more than 50,000 genetically different strains of rice. Rice is Oryza sativa, उसका biological name. Right now, so वो एक ही है. लेकिन strains, obviously, when you go to the store to pick up some rice, right? You see that there are so many different types of rice, and ultimately you have to call back home and ask, "अरे भाई कौन सा rice चाहिए?" Right now, so many different varieties are there, and so many different prices are there. Right now, so what are these? All different strains. क्या species different है? नहीं, species तो वही है, Oryza sativa ही है. उसका genetic strain अलग है. So उसको बोलते हैं हम लोग genetic level diversity. Right? 1,000 varieties of mango. Mango is Mangifera indica. Right now, but do we find different varieties of mango? Right now, Alfonso. Right now, and we have different varieties coming in. So all of them are Mangifera indica, but they differ at the genetic level, right? So this is genetic level biodiversity. Next is species level biodiversity, right? For example, the Western Ghats, right? Very, ecological system wise, it's a very critical area. They have a greater amphibian species diversity than the Eastern Ghats. So यहाँ पर species level concentration of amphibians is more than that of Eastern Ghats. Ecological diversity, right now India has so many different types of ecosystems. Desert hai, rainforest hai, mangroves are there, coral reefs are there, wetlands are there, estuaries are there, all within the same country. So we have so many different types of ecosystem as compared to a country like Norway, जहाँ पे ecosystems का इतना diversity नहीं होगा. Right now, obviously, we are a tropical region, right? It's located in the high altitudes, isn't it? So, these three types of biodiversities have been discussed: genetic, species, and ecological. Okay, now let us quantify this diversity. Right now, how many actual species are there on Earth? Now, according to the IUCN data, IUCN हम लोग ने first chapter में किया है, International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. The total number of plant and animal species described so far is slightly more than 1.5 million. Please let me point out that ये 2004 का data है जो NCERT ने change नहीं किया है. So we will stick to this figure, right? Abhi to already 16 years में the figure would have gone much high. Estimates vary widely and many of them are only educated guesses. Right now, here I have to stop and sometimes, praise the language which is used by the NCRT, right? Now, I hope you know what is an educated guess, huh? You know what's an educated guess, now? What you do in your exams when you're stuck between two options in the MCQs, you make an educated guess, right now? Okay, I hope you understand. Okay, so for many taxonomic groups, species inventories are more complete in the temperate than in the tropical countries. मतलब जितने स्पीशीज डिस्कवर होने थे टेम्परेट जोन में वो डिस्कवर हो चुके हैं, राइट? अभी तक ट्रॉपिकल कंट्रीज में उतने स्पीशीज डिस्कवर नहीं हुए. सो द स्पीशीज इन्वेंट्री यानी कि टोटल नंबर ऑफ स्पीशीज दैट वर टू बी डिस्कवर्ड इन टेम्परेट for many taxonomic groups, and I'm saying for all of them, for many of them. So considering that a large number of species waiting to be discovered are in the tropics में discovery कम हुई का मतलब tropics में species number ज्यादा है, numerically tropics में species number is high. That's why you are now comparing this. Biologists make a statistical comparison of the temperate to tropical species richness of a exhaustively studied group of insects. Why insects? Arthropoda, largest phylum, उसमें से largest class is insecta, right? Now, so it's exhaustively studied in all the areas. So now you study कि temperate और tropical उसका ratio कितना है insects का, and you extrapolate, you apply this ratio to other groups of animals and plants, and you come up with an estimate. Right now, अब ये estimate has two extremes, right? The extreme estimate right now has got 20 to 50 million species. Right now, 20 million is 2 crore, 5 crores. But most conservative estimates has been given by Robert May, which says about 7 million. Right now, हम लोग ये 7 million को पकड़ के चलेंगे. Right now, so अगर 7 million total species, 70 lakh species है और उसमें से 1.5 million discover हुए हैं, so we are assuming around about 20-22% of the species have been discovered. Rest 78-80% are yet to be discovered, right? So this is as far as quantification of species on Earth. Now, out of this quantity, what is India's share, right? Before that, thoda sa, let's categorize them also. 70% of all species are animals, right? अब यहाँ पर कैटेगराइजेशन अलग की, ये एनसीईआरटी का ही डायग्राम उठाया मैंने. इनवर्टिब्रेट्स, वर्टिब्रेट्स है, देखो यहाँ पर 70% of all species are, so out of 10, 7 are animals. Out of, देखो यहाँ पे 22% are plants, बाकी सब categories. Right now you have 5 kingdoms, obviously you know that, right? Out of the 70%, right now, which are animals में से भी 70% are insects, right? Look at the invertebrate insects का group देखो, huge, right? So I hope this quantification is a little clear to you. Now they've given one estimate about fungi, right? Now the number of fungi is more than fishes, amphibians, reptiles, and mammals, right? Now अगर याद रखना है तो क्या करना है? FU fungi, FARM. So you can just write side पे FU greater than farm. So a fungi is greater than fishes, amphibians, reptiles, and mammals. Just one way you can remember this notation. Now one thing that you should be keeping in mind is whatever these estimates are given for us, they do not include prokaryotes. Bacteria इसके बाहर है, because biologists are still not sure how many prokaryotic species are there. ये एक प्रॉब्लम है. दूसरा है कि जो अपना conventional taxonomic methods are there, it is not suitable for identifying microbial species, and many species are not culturable under lab conditions. So उनका गिनती अब तक they are not able to sure. खाली if you count सिर्फ यही species गिनेंगे ना only for prokaryotes, the diversity alone of prokaryotes might run into millions. So for the sake of convenience, we have kept prokaryotes को इसके बाहर रखा है हमने, right now. So that point has to be kept in mind, please. Now, what is India's share of this diversity? Now, interesting statistics we've got here. India has 2.4% of the world's land, right? 2.4%. Can you imagine that India ka land, right? Now, please understand, पूरे earth में, the distribution of land and water you have seen, right? Now, the majority part is occupied by water, right? The remaining is land. जो जितना थोड़ा land है, उसका 2.4% is the world's land. Out of it, and in spite of having only 2.4%, India has 8.1% of the world's biodiversity. That's a pretty big share of biodiversity. So we are a biodiversity rich country. So we've got rich biodiversity. That is why India is one of the 12 mega diversities of the world. Right now, with rough estimates of 45,000 species of plants and double that number of animals. राइट ये तो सब 2004 का डेटा है IUCN का राइट recent numbers will be high right so 2.4% of the world's land right now population में तो थोड़ा सा उल्टा हो जाएगा right now we have 2.4% of the world's land but 17% of the world's population right chalo that is another discussion for another day so 2.4% of the world's land but having 8.1% of the world's biodiversity. So if we apply the estimates of Robert May, so abhi bhi 1 lakh species of plants and 3 lakh species of animals are yet to be discovered in India, right? So first is quantifying the biodiversity in the world and उसमें से India का share कितना है. Next, is there a specific pattern of biodiversity? Right now, do we have a specific pattern of biodiversity? Let's check. Then, कैसे distribute हुआ है biodiversity in the world? Now we see two patterns of distribution. One is along the latitudinal gradient, and second is with respect to species area relationship. Two patterns we are going to identify today. Right? First, let us talk about latitudinal gradient and then we talk about the other one. The species diversity decreases as we move away from the equator towards the poles. Now, ये geography का lesson नहीं है. You know all these latitudes. Tropics, they harbor more species than temperate or polar areas. Right? We just made that point a while back. Right now, the author to just justify his point is comparing the species of birds at different latitudes. So this is Colombia, which is fairly near the equator, has got 1400 species of birds, whereas India, right now, is close to the equator, but a little thoda sa Colombia ke respect se thoda dur hai. Right now, it has 1200 species of birds, but at New York, right now, which is around at 41 degrees north, right now, thoda upar aana chahiye tha ye, right now, has got 105 species of birds. Greenland, which is at 71 degree north, right, has got 56 species. So can you see that as you are moving away from the equator towards the poles, the number of species go on reducing. So tropical areas obviously will have higher number of species. Right? I hope this point is made. And if you're talking about tropical areas, how can we miss on Amazon rainforest? Obviously, the greatest biodiversity, the list is there in front of you. It is there in the NCERT also for you to learn that the greatest biodiversity. Obviously, वो जो 12 mega biodiversity है, उसमें first Brazil आएगा. The Amazon is located in the Brazil, right? Okay. Now, when you're talking about latitudinal gradients, you numerically know that okay, tropics mein the biodiversity is more. Now, what is so special about the tropics that the biodiversity is more there? Right? The author has highlighted 3 points. He says formation of species, right? See, we're talking about the number of species. This speciation is a function of time. Yani it takes a lot of time, millions and millions of years for new species to come. Tropical latitudes have remained relatively undisturbed for millions of years. So disturbance यहाँ पे कम हुआ है. And that's why evolutionary time for the species diversification has been available here. So if time has been available in this area, number of species also has been more. So first is availability of time, and this area has remained undisturbed for a long period. Second, tropical environments are less seasonal, relatively more constant and predictable. You know, we are staying in a tropical country. Our seasons are more predictable, right? You know what is going. There's no unpredictability unless and until we are witnessing, a wide variety of global warming issues and all that. But it is more predictable that okay, fine, summer has just ended and we are on the cusp of the monsoon, right? Just having experienced yesterday the Nisarg cyclone, right? We just missed Mumbai by a whisker. Okay, but predictable है वो, right? The rains are going to come. ठीक है ना? उसके बाद winter is going to follow that. Such constant environments, they promote niche specialization, right? Now we did talk about niche in the previous chapter, right? Now, right? So every niche will give occupancy to one species, right? Now, so जितने ज़्यादा species develop होंगे, उतने ज़्यादा niches develop होंगे, क्योंकि every species has its own niche, has its own role, has its own functional role in this system. Right? So this will lead to greater species diversity. This is the second point which the author makes. And third, obviously, the amount of solar energy available in the tropics is high, which contributes to higher productivity, more photosynthesis, more biomass available, indirectly contributing to greater diversity. So tropics ke favor mein, these are the 3 points, right? Now, speciation, function of time, the environment has been constant, predictable, right? And the amount of solar energy being more. I think species area relationship is next. Yes. The second pattern is what is species area relationship. Now, the German naturalist and geographer Alexander von Humboldt, he observed that within a region, species richness increased with increasing explored area, but only up to a limit, right? That means जैसे जैसे तुम area बढ़ाओगे, right? Now you start exploring more area, right? You will find that species richness बढ़ेगा. That's but obvious, but only up to a certain limit. And the relation between species richness, see this graph is given here. On the y-axis, you got species richness. On the x-axis, got area. So यहाँ area explore किया, मेरे पास species richness इतना है. तो जैसे मैं area बढ़ाते जा रहा हूँ, species richness भी बढ़ते जा रहा है. लेकिन एकदम से area बढ़ा दिया, तो species richness का curve straight हो रहा है. Right now, I hope you're understanding this graph, please. Now, this relation between these two parameters is a rectangular hyperbola. As you can see, this blue line is a rectangular hyperbola. This equation is S is equal to C A raised to Z. I'll come in a moment. What are these? Now, if we take it on a logarithmic scale, we find that it's a straight line, and its equation is log S is log C plus Z log A. This equation here, S is species richness, you can on the y-axis. A is the area on the x-axis. Z will be the slope of the line, that is regression coefficient, and C will be the y-intercept, where the line will intercept on the y-axis. So this is the species area relationship, right now. So you'll have to remember these two equations, the hyperbola wala equation and the straight line wala equation, right? These are asked as direct questions. This diagram is also placed as a direct question. Now the value of Z lies between the range of 0.1 to 0.2, irrespective of the taxonomic group or the region. Now देखो, this is area versus species richness. So if you are exploring plants in Britain, right now, तो Britain क्या हो गया यहाँ पर? X axis पे आ गया, right? और plants क्या हो गया यहाँ पर? Species richness, right now. So you are comparing plants in Britain, or you compare, or you take up birds in California or molasses in New York, right now. Value of Z is amazingly similar, 0.1 to 0.2. But if you analyze it for a very large area, like the entire continent, you find that the slope is a little more steeper, and the Z का value goes in the range of 0.6 to 1.2. देखो यहाँ पे क्या है, 0.1 to 0. अगर छोटा एरिया है तो this is the value of Z, but अगर पूरा continent cover कर लिया तो it becomes 0.6 to 1.2. For example, the fruit-eating birds and mammals. दो groups compare किए, two taxa, birds and mammals, aves and mammalia. In the tropical forest of different continents, the slope is 1.15, just less than 1.1, 1.2. Right now, so this is the example for frugivorous. Right now, fruit eating. Frugivorous means fruit eating. So there's a small question which is posed there in your NCRT books, that what do you mean by a steeper slope? Okay, a steeper slope. Steeper slope means slopes which are closer to vertical axis, right? So this slope is going to be more closer to steep slope. It's going to be more closer to the vertical axis, or in other words, they make the larger angle with the horizontal axis, obviously. So it signifies the number of species found increases faster than the area explored. Right now, अगर ये line ऐसा straight जाएगा, मतलब area कम explore हुआ है, लेकिन species richness बढ़ गया है. Right now, so within a small area, because the area that you're exploring is an entire continent, right? That is why you find these slopes becoming more. So you can just make a note of this small box which I have written here, right? So that explains us two patterns of biodiversity. I'll continue the next in the forthcoming video, right? So up till now, what we have done is, what is biodiversity? What is the quantification? How much of biodiversity is present in the world? उसमें से India का share क्या है? And what is the pattern of distribution? And we have learned that there are two patterns of distribution: latitudinal and species area relationship, right? So we'll continue in the next video.